Good evening, class. My name is Danielle Hudnall, and in this video, I will be reflecting on the research that I completed on instructional strategies. In my 12 years of teaching, I've spent a lot of time researching and learning about the various instructional strategies, as well as observing other teachers as they implement different strategies in their classrooms. When I think back to when I was in school, I honestly don't remember much from elementary school. However, in middle and high school, I know that most of the instruction that I received was direct instruction with maybe a few other strategies sprinkled in here and there. Instructional strategies can be broken down into two different groups, either teacher-led or student-centered instructional approaches. Some may view teacher-directed as old school or less engaging for students. However, there are times when having teacher-led direct instruction is needed to ensure that the content being taught is accessible for students. When determining what instructional strategy is going to work best in a classroom, teachers have to take into account grade level, the age of the students, and students' ability so that they are ensuring that the strategy they are using best meets the need of their students. For example, if a teacher is in a first grade classroom and teaching a lesson about addition and subtraction, direct instruction may be best so that the teacher can ensure there are no misconceptions, as these skills are a foundational math skill. After a direct instruction lesson, the teacher can do a fluency activity to gauge student learning. Student-centered learning would focus more on the students taking the lead in the learning and the teachers acting more as a facilitator throughout the lesson. Examples of student-centered learning can include cooperative learning with a group or partner, hands-on learning, and inquiry-based learning. A strategy that I use in my classroom is collaborative learning, in which students work in groups to complete a task at hand. We've also used many Kagan structures in the classroom to keep students engaged and working together. Students have enjoyed using a carousel gallery walk in which they will answer different questions with their group, and then after a given amount of time, students will switch to another group's poster to examine their work. When they are at the other group's poster, they will give them some form of positive feedback, even if they don't agree with what the original group stated. If they do not agree with what the original group stated, they will respectfully leave feedback to help make the original poster better. Students will rotate through all the posters in the classroom until they get back to their original poster and can view their feedback from other groups. Behaviorism focuses on behaviors that can be observed from the student. Looking at how behaviorism and instructional strategies can be a direct instruction lesson in which students are required to follow direct instruction that is being presented to them. If a teacher sees the behavior that is not desirable throughout the lesson, they can fix the behavior through modeling so that students' behavior is modified for a desired outcome. Cognitivism is when a student is actively engaged in a lesson or activity that is going on in the classroom. An example would be a collaborative learning. Students are working together to solve a problem or answer a question, and in order for the group to be successful, all students have to be engaged. Knowing different pedagogical theories on effective teaching is important because it gives teachers the ability to develop lessons that incorporate learning strategies to support all students in the classroom. This is important because having a strong understanding of various instructional strategies and how they can benefit students can allow teachers to decide which strategy is best to instruct the class of students they are working with the student in mind, no matter what level of education they are teaching. Strategies that I would like to use more in my classroom would be mostly student-centered learning strategies. I know that there will be times where direct instruction is needed to teach content. However, I like to incorporate more collaborative and inquiry-based learning into my ELA classroom. And using collaborative and inquiry-based learning, it not only puts students in charge of their learning, but it also increases engagement in lessons. I also think that collaboration is an important skill for students to learn, even at a young age, because being able to work with others is a skill that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. Thank you to listening to my thoughts on learning strategies, and have a great evening.